by saying that I really don't expect to win this thing. I'm not going to come out here, talk over a rap song for a little bit, and then hand out a few roses. However, I maybe can make you laugh. If anybody here knows me, I have a huge, freakishly long scar on this arm. And the reason why I have that scar is pancakes, for lack of a better excuse. Elaboration. I woke up one day, like 2 years ago in summertime. I felt great. I woke up, put on my favorite clothes, went downstairs, and my dad was like, "Hey, you want me to make steak quesadillas for dinner tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, Macho Man Savage." And he's my father. And anyway, I was like, I'm going to go to Mama's house, it was like 2 blocks away, and get some delicious pancakes for breakfast. And he was like, And so I went on my quest. About 10 minutes down the way, there's a part where like the sidewalk kind of crumbles into forest, and you have to cross the street. And I was doing that, and I kept leaving the second lane. I looked over, and there was just like this car coming. And I see it, and I'm like, whoa! Because it hit me. And everything was and I'm like spinning through the air, and I remember thinking, holy crap, I just got hit by a car. This doesn't happen. And then like I bounce on the ground, fly through the air again, bounce again, and then skid like for like 8 feet. So it probably wasn't 8 feet, more like 2 inches. This was awful. And I'm laying there, and my body's in shock, so I don't feel anything really. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna make a good story for when I get pancakes. And the lady, she gets out of her car, and she's like, oh my gosh, you're gonna hit a person, Mama. And I'm laying there, and I'm like, no, it's okay, it's cool. But again, the wind's knocked out of me, and I'm in shock, so what comes out is, makes her out even more. And I go to get up to like show her that I'm fine, and I go to like use my arm to push myself up, and it's a bit like that. So I'm like, no, that's broken. I'm gonna kind of lay here until you call an ambulance. About 10 minutes pass. There's a crowd now of people who's like, oh, you got hit. And like nobody's calling an ambulance. It ends up my dad's friend has to come by, and she's like, Austin, and I'm like, Rachel. She's like, what are you doing over here? And I'm like, ugh. So I get to the hospital, they keep flopping me over on different tables and everything, it's excruciatingly painful, and they're like, how's their back feel? And I'm like, my back is fine, we still this. And they cut off all my clothes, remember I'm wearing my favorite clothes, they cut all of them off, and I'm naked. And instead of making me feel good, because I just got hit by a car, well, a white SUV actually, those are big. And they instead of like putting like a sheet over me to cover me up, they put a little dish rag over me. I'm just feeling bad, and there's all these nurses and everything. Oh yeah, what the? Anyway, after a bunch of x-rays and everything, I'm in this big empty room by myself. It's a little creepy. And the doctor comes in and he's like, Mr. Short, you have a broken humerus. And I'm like, I got that one. And then he's like, your pelvis has a hairline fracture all the way across. And I'm like, okay. Also, 2 pieces of your spine are chipped off. Okay. He says he needs to check if I'm internally bleeding, so he needs a urine sample. And I put the cup down there, and my body's still in shock, muscles are all tensed up, and nothing's coming out. So he's like, well, if we don't have a urine sample by 8 o'clock, we're going to have to shove a catheter up your pee hole and suck out the pooper. And I let go. So 8 o'clock comes, God, guys. I'm talking right now. Okay. So 8 o'clock comes around. It was more like 7:58, and finally, I just had the cup around me all day. I'm like waiting, and it all releases, and I hold up. I'm like, look at this golden victory. Look at that mom. She takes it, and due to habit for taking care of my bedridden grandfather, who also has to be in cuffs, she walks into the bathroom. I'm like, oh, okay. She's gonna put it in there so it doesn't smell bad, and Wait for the doctor to come, and then hear the toilet flush. And my mom comes back out with an empty bottle, and I'm like, Mom, what did you do? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, Mom, I'm so enraged. I just start peeing again. And I'm like, give me the gun. And I fill up just enough to where I don't have to get Even after all of this, like, I would try suing the lady for hitting me and not even calling and saying sorry. God. But I don't. Instead, she tries suing me for damaging her vehicle. Yeah. But after a week in the hospital, 6 weeks in a back brace, I finally get to go home and get some lunch pancakes.